NMLS 155010. Today we're going to talk about why you should buy real estate, in particular an insider's guide to understanding the why behind real estate. So let's first of all take a look at this really simple understanding of the three main reasons why you would want to buy versus rent. Now, principal paydown means when you own a home, the payment that you're making consists of two things. Well, sometimes your escrow for your taxes and insurance as well, but two things that are part of the mortgage payment, not the escrow payment. One is principal, one is interest. The principal that you're paying down actually goes to pay down the loan. So that money is your money. It comes back to you in the form of equity. So you get a principal pay down, you get something for that. You're not just throwing it away. Tax deductions. Talk to your CPA about this. I'm not a CPA, but you get to deduct the mortgage interest on your taxes if you itemize your deductions, which is beautiful. That's only true, of course, if you buy. And you have the opportunity for appreciation. Home values don't always go up, but over long periods of time, they do. In fact, I have a graph for you here. I'm going to show you. This is real estate values since the 1980s, and you can see that although there are ups and downs, overall, the trajectory of real estate is higher. And this is true no matter how far you go back on the timeline. Real estate will always go higher in prices just based on the fact that there's only so much real estate and we have a growing population. So when we look at those three things, we realize that, okay, these are all things that are beneficial to me, but I only get those if I buy. If you rent, you get $0 towards your principal paydown. There is no such thing as a principal paydown. You're just throwing everything into the trash. Tax deductions, well, you don't get any of those either, unfortunately. So when you rent, you get zero on the tax deduction front. No help with Uncle Sam. And there's, of course, no opportunity for appreciation whatsoever when you rent. So when you're buying, these are the three things that can really, really help you over the long term. The first two are guaranteed. This is guaranteed. This is guaranteed. This is not guaranteed. But over long periods of time, it has always been true. In fact, if you bought a home at the absolute worst possible time before the real estate crash of 2008, it's less than 10 years later, you are already whole on average. That's on average. So that includes a lot of different places all across the country. Here's the big thing that I really want you to understand, though, about what's taking place from a macroeconomic standpoint. And what's really interesting about this, we look at this graph here, which shows us just population, how many people were born in each year. So, for example, 1965, this many people were born. That's a little less than 4 million people. Okay. What we look at, though, average homebuyer age is about 33 years old. So we track how much population are turning 33. Not how many people are born, but how many are turning 33. So this is where we are today. So if you look back to 33-year-olds would be 1988. So this is a 1988 population bar. What's interesting about this, though, is if you go back, so if we go back, where are we looking at the crash? The crash, well, that was 13 years ago. So if we go back to the crash 13 years ago, 1975, so here's 80, 79, 78, 77, 76, 75. That is going to show you where the market bottomed in the crash. How interesting is that it's in line with, we had a market crash that took place after a decline in 33-year-olds entering the home buying space. And we bottomed out right at that time and started coming back up and have been up ever since. It makes sense now, doesn't it? When you look at the number of 33-year-olds. Well, guess what? The number of 33-year-olds today, if we draw this over, as far as pretty much the eye can see, each year we have at least as many 33-year-olds today. The next couple of years we have more. So the next 5-6 years we have more 33-year-olds coming into the market, more people turning 33 than we have since a long time ago. And this is very likely going to sustain and move real estate prices higher. I showed you the real estate graph, and that's obviously important. But what about rent? Well, rents never go down, do they? This is San Diego County. I'm not very good with Excel, so I had to do this on my own. So sorry, this isn't like a professional chart. But the bottom line is this. You can see what's happening here with the trajectory. Rents go higher. That's just what happens. Rents go up. So if rents are always going up, home values over time also go up. What's the smartest thing to do? Well, one of the things that I did not list on here, but however is true, is that when you buy, a lot of people think when you buy a home, you're making an investment in real estate, but technically it's not an investment. It would technically, but if it's your primary residence, it would be called a hedge. What's the difference between the two, an investment and a hedge? Well, in an investment, you're buying it solely for the purpose that you believe you can make money, right? With an investment, you don't buy investments for any other reason. With a hedge, you're not always making money with a hedge, but what you're doing is you're controlling your costs. And when you have to live somewhere, you're going to be paying someone something. You're either going to be paying a mortgage on a home that you own, or you're going to be paying rent to basically pay someone else's mortgage. But the problem with paying rent is that, as we just saw, rents go higher. However, when you buy a home, you get a fixed interest rate. Your payment is pretty much stuck at the same spot. Now, we'll undulate up and down a little bit as taxes or insurance go up or down slightly, very small amounts. But overall, you've really hedged your payment. You've said, okay, my payment's $3,500 a month, and it's going to be that way for 30 years. And then guess what happens after 30 years? It goes to zero. And you don't have a payment anymore. You just have to pay your taxes and insurance. So the beautiful thing about a hedge is that it helps you control your costs. It helps you maintain a budget. You get all of those benefits when you own, and you do not get that when you rent. So if we know that rents are going up and we can see the writing on the wall, at least for the next 5 or 6 years, and probably from there beyond, real estate prices continuing to go higher. The one other thing that you should know about is construction. So the more time that goes by, the more difficult construction is, not just because of regulations, although that's a big part of it. More and more regulations on home builders, more and more environmental studies and things like that have to be done. But also, home builders have already built homes in the easiest, most profitable places to build. So now, as they continue to try to build homes, they have to find more places to build. Most of these places are not ideal, and they require additional costs to either level the ground or to figure out how to get materials to a certain place or how to organize it in some way. It has additional costs associated with it. Therefore, it has to cost more money. And usually when that happens, they're going to end up building more luxury real estate than first-time buyer type homes. And you're seeing that happen all across the country right now. I'm not even going to talk to you about lumber prices. I'm not even going to talk to you about the regulations. I just want to say all of the easy and profitable places to build have already been built on. And now every time you see a new subdivision going up, what you're seeing is like the 200th best place to build houses in your area. So, and that's going to continue to happen over time as they continue to build. They just have to build in the next best place. But we're going down the list now as far as best place and most profitable places to build. So hedging your costs when you know something's going to go higher is a very, very good idea. And I would highly recommend that you do exactly that. If you have questions, my email address is right here on the screen. You can email me anytime, Derrick@DerrickEvans.com. I'm happy to help you walk through this. You can also call or text me anytime if you like. This is my cell phone number. Let me know what questions you have. I want to help you succeed. We can win together in this market or any market if we do the right things, and that's what I will help you do.